Give me a little intro there, Gomer.
There's no turning back now.
Let's put on the show.
You're listening to the Station 71 podcast. My name is Mario, and this week I'm joined by my co-hosts,
Beth,
Brian,
and Kirsten.
So we've got some fun stuff to talk about this week. So let's dive into the news and we'll go right into our topic. First thing we've got on the news is that the Mulan preview and props have arrived at Disney's Hollywood Studios. And this is kind of exactly what it sounds like. We've got some costumes. We've got, it looks like some set pieces and stuff like that. I'm happy to see that they haven't stopped bringing the props to Hollywood Studios.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
that is cool. But do you have to pay an additional $30 to see them?
Have we talked about that on here? Because
I don't think we have.
I don't think so either.
So if you don't know, Disney decided that because Mulan is not going to be hitting theaters anytime soon, it's going to be coming to Disney Plus Premier Access is what they're calling it on September 4th, which basically means that you can spend $30 to buy Mulan.
In addition to your subscription fee.
Yes. And they haven't, the thing that frustrates me about this is they haven't announced how that works if you've opted out of Disney Plus. So like for Amazon, for example, that's exactly what I was thinking. Like for Amazon, for example, if I buy a movie or rent a movie through Amazon, but I cancel my Prime subscription, I still have access to the movie. Am I going to have Mulan on like their video movies anywhere service that they had for a while, or is it just on Disney Plus?
Yeah. Or if you cancel Disney Plus later, because we get YouTube TV for football season, but then we cancel it, and like Hulu we do for we do Hulu for Handmaid's Tale, but then I cancel it for the rest of the year, so would I still be able to watch it?
I mean, I do get that, because I like this in the same boat. I would probably, if there isn't anything I want to watch on Disney Plus, I wouldn't pay for the subscription, but I would want that movie that I paid $30 for. I don't know. It's weird, and I'm not sure I like it.
Well, the thing also is that it's not going to be exclusive to Disney Plus. So you can buy it on Apple TV and not pay to subscribe to Disney Plus. So I don't really see. Now that I'm not sure, but I do know, I did read that it's coming to Apple TV, and you just have to pay the $30. Just have to pay the $30 in quotation marks. But you don't have to have a subscription to anything. So I don't really understand what their game is here. You'd think, if anything, they're going to be like, okay, well, you're already paying $7 for the monthly fee for Disney Plus. So then you just have to pay a $23 fee, and that evens it out so that you don't buy it on Apple TV.
Yeah, there needs to be something. Oh, no, I was just agreeing with Beth that, there needs to be something in there to, give people a reason to get it on Disney Plus instead of somewhere else. And I'm not sure early access is going to be enough.
I also just found an article that says when your Disney Plus subscription ends, you do lose it. Yeah, is that this is not a movie that I feel like they have the right to do this with. If it was a Marvel movie, you
Mhm.
know people would do it. But this is not a movie that people have been super duper hyped about.
And it's not the one to test the waters with either, with
Right.
this whole system. Like, yeah, it needs to be a huge blockbuster. And from what I've seen, this ain't that.
For families, I do think that $30 is a good deal, because if you think about the price of admission for movie seats for, you know, 2 adults, like in our instance, Eli's too young, and then a babysitter and like dinner, whatever. Or if you have family, like, you know, 2 adults, 2 kids tickets, popcorn, candy, all that stuff, like $30 is way cheaper, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you don't get popcorn and candy when you pay the $30 for this movie.
That might entice
just
me.
the ticket prices.
I don't know. Here's the thing. If you think about it, though, okay, so $30, the average, I'm going to say the average family that subscribes to Disney Plus is probably like a family of 4, with 2 adults, 2 kids. You figure a movie ticket's about $12 if you're not going to like a matinee, which is still $9. You still break even with just the movie. I get it, and I get the price. I totally do.
But what happens when you have a household of 1 or 2? That makes it like not fair anymore. And I get
But you're
that
not
they're
the target demographic. That's the thing.
Okay, I bet I give them way more money than that family of 4 does overall. So I'm
Yeah,
not
but
saying-
you're an anomaly.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
exactly it. Like for stuff like this, I feel like we are definitely not the target demographic. Like that's what it comes down to. And I think, God,
I do wonder, like, just comparing, if you compare all the money you spend on them per year with like a family like us, who is a family of 3 or 4, we're never going to be 4, but whatever, who like goes and then has like a kid, because I do think it gets more expensive when you have a kid. And people who have kids, one, not only spend more, but if they go to Disney a lot, then they're probably more affluent, you know, than like, I guess, the typical family or whatever. So I wonder like how many of your trips make up like one of their target demographics trips, you know, like that's just basic curiosity.
Yeah.
I also think, kind of rounding this back to Mulan, I also think that this is a good one for it to be the test subject for, mainly because you have the issue of like, you know, this isn't a really hyped up movie. If it was Avengers Endgame, if it was, you know, Infinity War, the last couple Marvel movies, whatever, like it would be online in a day, and then all of Disney's profits would be a wash. Like, it's not super hyped. It's a movie that they're going to get some revenue off of. And at this point, it's already been pushed back enough that like when it did hit theaters, nobody was going to care about it anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just feel like
wonder
there
if they
was
have deals that they have to fulfill at some point.
Oh, I'm sure they do. And I'm sure this was probably the only way to recoup the loss on what they had for this.
right. I feel like there was a better way to go about it than this really alienating $30 fee, which my suggestion was, because I feel like Disney people, they're very hit or miss in this sense, but if they had done some sort of pay per person type of deal, tell us how many people are going to be watching this. Obviously, there would be a bunch of people that would lie and say 1, and then they would lose money on them. But I feel like there are a lot of Disney fans out there who are like goody two shoes, pixie dusters, who would say, oh, well, I have a family of 5, so I'm going to put 5. And then they would make more money on them, and it would just even out, and they wouldn't be bringing up all of this ill will in the community.
You know what the answer to this is? It's Disney should have released this earlier. They should have released it when it was ready to hit theaters as a stream on demand type of thing. And they should have released it the same way that they did for like Trolls World Tour was the one that came out right at the start of pandemic. And that made a ton of money for, I think Universal is the one that owns them. But the way that they did it was they put it on all of them. They don't have a proprietary streaming service. They don't have that subscription fee that hangs over. Or even if they did, like, just want to release it on Disney Plus, make it so that it's linked to Movies Anywhere or, Apple TV or any of the services you buy it on. It stays with that account. Like that's the thing that I think could have made the difference. But
that would make more sense for you. Once you buy it, you have it, even if you cancel your Disney Plus subscription.
That's the thing that rubs me the wrong way, is that if you cancel, it's gone.
Yeah. It's like they just took your $30.
Like towards the future and trying to figure out how vertically integrated they can get so they're not beholden to anybody, like not even.
Oh, I'm sure.
And so I think it's definitely imperfect, but I think it's probably just part of the long game for them, and we don't care.
Well, yeah. I mean, Disney hasn't exactly had the best relationship with movie theaters over the past couple of years, so I can definitely see them wanting to move to something like that.
And honestly, for people with kids, I think that they know that parents are so desperate right now for anything that a lot of parents who like wouldn't typically spend $30 on it are going to be like, I don't even care, whatever. If you'll shut up, I'll buy this movie. So you can $30. I mean,
well, and that's exactly it. That's like, I don't know. I think that it's weird that it's this late in the game. I feel like they definitely should have done it earlier in the time frame of things, but Disney was like holding out hope that it would hit theaters and they could recoup some of that box office money.
Yeah. And I guess people are sitting at home bored and looking for anything exciting to be happening. So there are definitely people that are going to be willing to pay it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I want to, but Will doesn't want to. I might do it anyway.
And then my other question here that I don't know if this is going to be a make or break thing, but like how long until it hits Disney Plus? Because, I mean, Onward wasn't on like other like the on-demand streaming sites or rent for Apple TV for very long before it moved to Disney Plus. If it's going to be like, watch this for a month and then you can watch it for free on Disney Plus, no, I'm going to wait the month. Like that's my big thing.
I'm just going to wait until it's included in the platform. I'm not that desperate to watch it right now. I'd rather spend that $30 on a movie that I get to keep indefinitely.
Yeah. So I think it's time to move on to our next topic because we've stayed on this for a while.
So bad.
No, it's okay. So Disney has updated their November hours, which could mean that they're going to make a Very Merry Christmas Party announcement soon. This is all speculation. We don't have any information on what's going to happen. But it's just interesting that they have changed their November hours.
I will be shocked if Very Merry ends up happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's a little optimistic the way that this article worded it, like, oh, they could make a Very Merry Christmas Party announcement soon. And it's like, that doesn't mean it has to be a good announcement.
Yeah.
I don't see how it could happen. I mean, you're going to lose almost everything that makes the party special. There's not going to be a parade. There's not going to be a stage show. There's not going to be fireworks. What exactly does that leave that makes the party special?
Snope.
You're going to pay $150 for the Snope.
Honestly, though, if they were allowed to do stage shows and parades, like, I think this would be the party to do it on because it's less physical contact than like the Halloween party has because you're not having the trick or treating and stuff. And like, yeah, they do the cookies and the eggnog and stuff, but like that's not a big part of the reason why anybody goes. Right. Yeah. And that's what I think, like if they could do those things, Very Merry would be the party to test it on. And then it also doesn't have as much of like the Disney fan base loves it as they do Very Merry or Not So Scary. So I could see it, but I also think that that's a very optimistic approach to it. I think that it's not likely at all that it's going to happen.
I think the only way that this could work in today's age of COVID-19 is if they reduce capacity even more significantly than the parties already are, which is really not very significantly on some days, but they reduce capacity really, really low and they jack the price way, way up because I feel like people would pay it. If they could have a Christmas parade and fireworks and you charged, I don't know, $200 instead of $100 or whatever it costs, and just reduce the capacity by, half as many people would totally pay that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
honestly, I would do that if I got the same. I mean, that'd be almost even be a better experience with less people.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Disney's not just gonna like take a loss on the financial part. If they're not able to charge more for it, they're not gonna just cut capacity so that they can do it.
Right, exactly.
And then it also comes with the the preparation that comes with the party. I think is another thing that we have to look at too, because Disney's not really in a state to really do that kind of thing. They have the hours cut, so they could theoretically do it after hours, but like that's money, that's time, that's commitment that really Disney's not in a position to do.
Yeah, especially since Bob Iger and Chapek just got their salaries back.
I kind of thought we weren't going to talk about that, but sure.
Got to keep those cast members furloughed so they can make the full salary.
Very quietly too. That was the real kicker. So do we want to talk about this last news topic?
Yes, we'll end it on a positive note, hopefully.
Positive speculation,
yes,
I think,
positive
is the best
fingers
way.
crossed.
Well, that's all we got right now. All right, let's just take it.
So at a Themed Entertainment Association talk over the last week, Tony Baxter said that he would want to redo Journey into Imagination and would come out of retirement to help with that plan. Want to preface this conversation with it is not anything that they are probably going to be doing at all anytime soon. In no way do I see this happening at all. But the fact that Tony Baxter is interested in doing it and said that he would come back out of retirement again, because he did come out to work on the Splash Mountain retheming supposedly, is exciting, I think.
Yeah, I feel like this could really bring some hype. Like, I know that this is not a thing that the general public would wait in line forever for, although they probably would, honestly. A new attraction in general always draws up a line. But if they brought it back more so to the original Journey into Imagination, that would get all of the hardcore Disney fans real stoked and brings a lot of hype into Epcot that really needs it right now.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly, maybe it's because I never really went whenever I never saw anything but what it is now, but I just don't get it. And I don't I would not be one of those people waiting in line. I would be like, whatever.
I never saw it in person. I've watched ride-throughs, but with the Figment comic series, that's what really made me get into it. And the idea of it getting back to its original glory is really exciting to me.
The biggest thing that Journey into Imagination could literally be the easiest retheme that they could possibly do. It's such a weird, to me, it feels weird that they haven't tried to do this, because because the technology that they could put into it would be just incredible. Like, Disney's at a place now where we're getting lifelike animatronics. All of these technological advances could make for some really cool effects on this attraction, and the potential is all there. An attraction about imagination just feels ripe for a refurb, but I just feel like it's so low on Disney's totem pole of things that they need to do in Epcot, especially with all that they announced and just canceled.
Yeah, I do agree with that. But I mean, they already have the bones for it. It's the same space, so they at least have that. And I'm sure they have some stuff in storage they could bring out. So I feel like it could be potentially a relatively low cost, quote unquote, new attraction.
Yeah, I think the biggest hangups would be technology, making animatronics for it and doing the effects. I feel like because the layout for the old attraction is still there, aside from I think the turntable is the only thing that's not. It's just it should be easy.
Yeah. But I agree with you. It's not high on the totem pole.
That's probably one of the biggest upsetting things too, is that the track is still there.
Yeah.
You guys have seen the pictures of like the layout, the old layout and the new one, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's so heartbreaking that it's like half the ride.
Collective sigh.
We're ending this on a happy note.
Yeah, we tried.
Okay. So here's the happy note of it, though. I feel like if anything, the fact that Tony Baxter still cares enough about this attraction means that it's still a thought. And I think that that's a good thing to think about too, because this really was one of his like baby projects. And he still, even though it's not the attraction that he envisioned it, there's still a lot of care there for it. And I think that's a nice thought to have, is that, you know, the original Imagineers still care about this attraction.
Yeah.
So I guess that brings us into our topic for this week. Not sure how much we're going to cover because we are now 20 minutes in after the news. But we decided on last week's episode or 2 weeks ago that a fun topic we could do would be to retheme or change Liberty Square and the American Adventure Pavilion. And the retheme kind of has to follow our usual retheme rules of one restaurant, one attraction, and an entertainment option, and it has to fit into the space that we already have. So I think the reason this came up was because we all talked about how much we don't like colonial America. Is that correct?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
it's
so.
so overdone.
So-
like
What did you call it, Kirsten?
called it colonial frumptastic. It's like everything that is American is that. Like, can we focus on some
Yeah.
eras where people had cute clothes, please?
Right.
Well, my biggest issue, I think, with both of these is that like all the American guests are already so familiar with this kind of like cookie cutter American history lesson that they've heard, you know, over and over again since elementary school. So they're kind of tired of it. And then I think any of the foreign guests don't really have the connection about it to care. So I think you're left with this theme that nobody is really that hyped on.
So that brings us to a very good point that I had while I was struggling with this topic. I feel like a lot of the pavilions in World Showcase, I guess we kind of talked about this too. We want to start with American Adventure because we had a little bit of an easier time retheming that one. I feel like a lot of the pavilions in the World Showcase, it's for the most part kind of like a stereotypical look at the country that they're in, or like you have the highlights of the country, I guess. America's a weird place where there's a lot of things that we've been taught through American history that could be like the quote unquote highlights, but colonial America, colonial America is always the one that gets the front center because, like, you know, early beginnings or whatever. I don't know where else like you could sum up America as like one place. Did you guys have trouble with that too? Like, did you pick a period in time or like a location?
No,
I
this
went
is hard.
a very different direction with that to kind of avoid that issue because of it's hard to really sum up like what is semi like modern day American culture, because it's not like one set thing. It's kind of a, you know, conglomerate of a lot of different areas.
Yeah,
Melting pot.
Yes.
Well, so that the whole reason I got thinking about that was because, like, you know, we've talked about this before. The whole reason behind a lot of the World Showcase pavilions was to like promote tourism to those countries. And it's like, you're in America. What can you promote tourism wise for that spot?
You've done it. Like, they're here.
So like maybe a mini Disney World in.
Oh man,
We heard you like
turtles
Disney.
all the way down.
We heard you like Disney, so we put Disney in Disney. So does anybody want to start with on a like a more serious note?
I can start. I
are
feel
we
like I
doing-
had a
are we
pretty
gonna-
good grip.
Are we going to talk about like go around and do like restaurant, then everybody do their attraction, then everybody do entertainment?
I think we should start overall idea first if you guys had one.
Oh God.
If you didn't, I think that's fine.
I had one.
Okay, what was yours?
So my overall thing was, you guys were just saying that there's not really a place that you can go that feels like quote unquote America. But I feel like if you were, it would be New York.
I
Times
knew somebody
Square.
was going to say that, and I absolutely hate this idea.
Well, I am so sorry, but I feel like if you were to Google where to go on an American vacation, New York would be at the top of the list. It would be either New York or Los Angeles. Let's be real. So I decided that I was going to go with New York, specifically more so around the Times Square area, because that is the most touristy part. I was thinking, when you go to the France Pavilion, you have the Eiffel Tower. You're mostly set in Paris, which is the touristy area. So I was going to bring that theming right on over to our pavilion, because let's face it, that's way more interesting than colonial America, even if it's cliche.
You know what? I 100% agree with you as much as I hate this idea. The only reason I hate this idea is because, one, like, I am relatively close to New York. But I also think that it was, for me, the reason I didn't pick this one was because it was hard to put things in there. So I'm very interested to see the direction you took with this.
Well, I got it. But we're going around circle for themes first.
Right. Did anybody else have a theme idea? I had a time period, which may have not been like the perfect period to pick for this, but
I have a theme.
Okay.
And my thought process with this was that the whole point of moving the American Adventure Pavilion from its original location that was thought about, at the front of World Showcase, it got put at the back because they wanted it to be as if it was a World's Fair that America was hosting. So I thought, why not just move away from the fact that, okay, this is the American Pavilion, do away with anything about American history, like as the country, and why don't we make it themed after the 64 to 65 World's Fair?
I love it.
I love that idea, and it makes me feel bad about going last for mine. I picked, really the only reason I picked this was for my ties together. I picked the 1920s as the period in which we'll look at American history, mainly just because there's a couple things that I could tie in with all of this, but that was really it.
That's funny because I tinkered with that idea as well. With it being the 20s. So I'm interested to see what you have.
And Kirsten, you said you don't necessarily have a overall theme, right?
No, I wanted to go with encompass all of the time periods that we think about whenever we think about America, because there are so many like there's 20s parties and 50s parties and disco, whatever. So I kind of wanted to do some stuff that would bring it all in together.
Yeah,
Party City.
I like that.
I'm curious to see how you do that.
I'm very curious to see how you do that too, because I like that idea. I like that it's,
but we'll see.
I don't know. We'll see. So do we want to just go in normal show order and we'll talk about stuff?
Sure.
Are we going to go everybody's restaurant, everybody's whatever?
We can do restaurant first because I didn't have one.
Oh, I didn't either. So.
I honestly, okay. So here's my argument for why I didn't have a restaurant. I feel like there, again, isn't something that overall sums up America in terms of food. However, when you see American food, it's always burgers, hot dogs, the stuff you get everywhere in theme parks. And I know we've kind of become the barbecue show, so leaving Regal Eagle there is kind of on brand for us. But I'm also the one person on this podcast that doesn't like barbecue, so I have no say in this.
Ooh.
It's your Yankee blood. You can't help it.
I have to say that when I was telling Will about this theme and talking about how exactly that American food is typical theme park food and what would be interesting. And I was the only thing I can come up with, and I didn't use this because he was that's a terrible idea, is if there was a family style restaurant where everything was just, because we're kind of known for big portion sizes. So like instead of family style like pasta, it was like a burger, but it was like a burger the size of a pizza.
Oh my God, that's great.
So it's basically
That's
like
very American.
Yeah, I thought it was funny, and my other idea
that's
was like, what
hilarious.
if it's like Woodstock and you just call your restaurant Munchies and it's like a bunch of. He was like, no, that's not acceptable. So we'll veto.
I think
my
those are
good
great
ideas.
I thought that was fun.
Yeah.
Did you guys have like an actual restaurant idea? Because I really struggled
did.
with that.
Go for it. I had
Okay.
one too, but you can go first.
I went ahead and went with like the 20s for the restaurant theme because I think that it's really fun. And I thought that they could maybe make the Christmas shop or whatever, or find some space and do like an outpost of the dress shop, so that if it's like a fancy restaurant, so like if people wanted to get dressed up, then they could find like cute themed clothes there. You know, like everybody knows like the dress shop dresses, right?
Mm-hmm.
That are like
Yeah.
the Disney theme, but they're actually cute. And I was like, if there was room, there could even be like a bibbidi bobbidi boutique for adults. So you could get like legit hair and makeup done, because there's really not like any place to like. There's no fancy options available in a theme park, which I totally get, but it would be fun. So I thought it would be fun to have like kind of a fancy jazz-ish like a Gatsby party restaurant. And since, alcohol, you know how I feel about alcohol in the Magic Kingdom, I'm with Walt, but I thought it would be cool and definitely 20 is appropriate if there was like, you went down some stairs and there was like a closet in the utilidors that was like a speakeasy.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
the only thing I could think of for like
Ooh.
20s theme related. I
But if
could
it
not
was, like-
figure out how to tie it in here.
Yeah, like real, like you have to go down on the utilidors and like whatever. And then there's like a tiny little speakeasy with like, I don't know, more than like toilet moonshine, but you get the idea.
Yeah. Well,
It
there's.
would be fun. So yeah.
I love the idea of a speakeasy too. There's one in one of the casinos around here. It's like the front is like a newspaper stand magazine store, and it's like really, really tiny, and you walk in and you have to ask them for a table, and then they open up one of the cabinets and there's a big restaurant behind it. So like the idea is so cool. I love it. I would be all in for this. What was your...
That sounded like a butt was coming.
Oh no. I am all in for this.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Maybe
no,
my inflection was wrong.
I love that idea too. I have always been fascinated with speakeasy type of places, and I think that would be really awesome and definitely something that people would get excited about. Because I mean, who doesn't love like hidden restaurants and hidden this and that, whatever. For my restaurant though, I had where the space where Regal Eagle is. Obviously, it would need to be renamed, but keep all the barbecue, and it can be kind of like a taste of regional areas. So you already have all the regional barbecues and stuff, but you could add stuff from other parts of the country, like, I don't know, key lime pie from the Keys, or I don't know, Louisiana, like stew or gumbos. Just have like a little bit of this, a little bit of that from around the country. And going with my New York theme, I decided to make the funnel cake stand a New York style pizza kiosk.
Nice.
Okay. I could do that.
So did everybody else do American Adventure?
Well, we were supposed to do both, but we were
I thought
starting
we were
with
supposed to
American
do
Adventure.
either or.
So we all did American Adventure. Brian and I
Except
struggled
me.
with Liberty Square. I still don't have a Liberty Square, so don't feel...
Okay, well,
Don't
I'm
feel
the
left
only
out if you didn't
weirdo
have
here
one.
who has all my stuff is for Liberty Square. So
That's fine.
Really? That's fine. So do we want to talk about what was next? Do we want to do the attraction or do we want to do entertainment?
I think we should do the attraction.
Okay.
Okay.
Are we going in order or...
Sure.
Okay, so I'll go first then. Mine is kind of a cop out, and I've said this before. I don't know if I've said this on the podcast. I don't understand why, one, Soarin' over California had to leave us, but two, why it was never in the American Adventure Pavilion. I think that Soarin' over California, or even if it was Soarin' over the United States, would be cool. Fly over some national parks, go over some monuments and stuff like that. I think that would be a neat attraction that would showcase more of the like the places you can visit. And I also I like that it's in the land, but I feel like this would be a better place for it since you're not technically I
On
don't
land.
know. Yeah, we've had this conversation about how there would be a good air pavilion. I think Kirsten said before. I think this would be the place to put something like that. I kind of also, since this doesn't take up as much space as American Adventure would have footprint wise, I had that we should also have a old timey movie theater, and it should just play Steamboat Willie on a loop because that came out in the 20s.
Cool.
And I thought that would be a nice little touch for the theming and to tie it back into Disney.
Yeah.
I like that.
I like that. Jinx. So for my attraction, I wanted to take the American Adventure, and since it already kind of has the structure for this, I feel like it would be a pretty easy fix. But you could make it a Broadway theater type of medley where you have live singers, and they do, how on the Tonys they'll have musicals that they have the cast come on and do one song from this and one song from that. And I feel like that could be a really big pull with as many musical fans as there are out there.
Or just do the Disney Broadway thing that they do every Festival of the Arts.
No, that's different because it's not costumes and set pieces. It's just people singing.
Okay.
This would be them in costume and have set changes and stuff like that. Like a song from the big hits. Or, they could do a song just from their Disney Broadway shows, but just make it a little fancy. Or if you didn't want to do a bunch of set changes, you could do how they have the Frozen mini show kind of thing at Disneyland. You could pick one of those and put a miniature Broadway production in there. Since it's New York themed, Broadway would fit right in.
Nice. So Brian, what was your attraction?
Mine's pretty simple, but since it was going to be themed after the 64-65 World's Fair, I really wouldn't do too much to change the actual building that much. I would leave it as a theater. I would really love to see just a video detailing the history of Disney and the Imagineers' work for the fair. But of course, to make it extra special, I would really, really love for them to have a animatronic Walt character that would narrate the whole thing.
Aww. That would be cool.
Yeah, I would like that.
Yeah. What is it? Talks with President Lincoln.
Great moments with
Yeah,
Mr.
yeah.
Lincoln. Yeah, that'd be really cool.
What about your attraction, Kirsten?
So this, I don't know. I really, really struggled with this. And usually I don't struggle with these blue sky things at all. I just come up with stuff pretty fast. But I was taking a break today when I was thinking about it. And I was reading an article in Vanity Fair that was a whole interview with Breonna Taylor's mom. And so I just started thinking about important figures in our history and people that have made changes in our history. And so I think it would be really cool. It's kind of I guess, Rise of the Resistance combined with Carousel of Progress, almost if there was a ride vehicle that was similar to Rise of the Resistance, and so you were seated and it just took you through. I feel like they should get Lin-Manuel Miranda in here to help with this, different moments in American history and made you a part of it. Rosa Parks and you're on the bus with her, and Gettysburg Address and you're you're there watching him make that speech. And I don't know, Secretariat and you're at the Kentucky Derby watching the race, just different stuff and like important people in history and all these moments that are kind of like what makes America like America, you know, and just like the values and stuff like that. I thought that would be interesting, but I couldn't come up with anything specific because I'm not an Imagineer, and this is why.
You named
like
like
that,
three
though.
specifics.
Well, yeah, I mean, I was just thinking of stuff like where there were people in attendance that I could think of, you know,
Gotcha.
and like
I think,
Elvis.
yeah, I think
like
that's a
when
really cool
Elvis,
idea, though.
You know, and like at Woodstock, like that was a pretty important, like Jimi Hendrix at Woodstock. I mean, that was a pretty big moment, you know, in American history, just stuff like that.
Yeah. That would be entertaining and educational
Yeah,
for
educational.
foreigners who don't know our history.
Focus on like the good parts of it.
Yeah, true.
I like that idea though. I like that it's I like that it's more than just a tiny portion like the American Adventure is now.
Yeah, and I've never seen the American Adventure. That's why I did Liberty Square, because I've never seen it and like been in the space. So this would probably have to take up between the Hall of Presidents and Columbia Harbor House. I think there would be room for this.
Nice. So entertainment.
I feel like
Ooh.
this is my weakest part. I like so the entertainment in World Showcase. I like that it's all kind of sporadic. Like the shows are mostly the same, and they have like a theme that they fit into and all that. But they're not large scale entertainment like a stage show or anything. I feel like that would be very out of place in the World Showcase. So I thought that fitting with my 1920s theme, have just like a New Orleans street jazz band or something along the lines of that. That would be a fun little thing to throw in there. Other than that, I really could not think of anything that wasn't the Voices of Liberty.
Well, see, for my New York theme, I thought that we would keep the Voices of Liberty and just rename them, make them not have to sing those super patriotic songs literally every single time. And instead, they could sing songs from American musicians of different eras, like maybe some pop, some classic rock, some oldies, throw some show tunes in there since we're in New York. But I love the Voices of Liberty, and I would never want to get rid of them. So I think they could just change their name to something more modern and New York focused and then just sing the hits.
You know, if you're keeping with the New York theme, you could also have a bunch of knockoff character performers that walk around in the streets.
That would be great. I didn't think about that, but that would be hilarious.
I
just have a
Kirsten
creepy
and Brian,
Elmo walking around.
You guys have been to New York before, right? I know Beth has.
No.
Oh gosh. Okay. So do you know what I'm talking about when I say that?
Nope.
Okay.
They have all these knockoff characters, like a knockoff Elmo
sure
or
it's
Captain
like
America or Spider-Man, and they look like really weird.
That sounds incredible. That makes
I'm
it's
literally
hilarious.
gonna look up. I'm gonna look up pictures of these.
Sounds like
Because
what they have in Vegas.
It
Yeah.
probably is close to that. Like the worst part about these costumes is the way that they're set up. It's the body of the costume, but then the character's head is on top and the person's face pokes out through their throat.
Ew. I'm disturbed.
Anyway, I'm gonna look for these so I can
I found one that I'm about to send right now in the chat.
Here we go. This isn't the one I was thinking about, but I found one too.
I feel like this is a pretty good representation.
The Cookie Monster.
They're like wearing backpacks.
The purses.
Oh my god! This reminds me of like when you you drive past like a daycare in like a rough neighborhood, and there's like painted characters on the side.
I absolutely love this aspect of New York, like of Times Square. So
I'm highly disturbed.
Oh my
It
god.
looks just like Vegas, which also highly disturbs me.
I love
I
how
love it.
Elmo is just like very much not able to focus on whatever he's staring at. Either ever so slightly askew. Oh man. Oh, that's great.
It's such a, oh wait, I found some good ones too. Here, I'm gonna send some more to the chat so we can talk about this.
Ooh.
There's got. I like that these Minnie Mouses are topless in the last two that I sent.
That Mario has been drinking too much beer.
But yeah.
Oh my God, Elsa, that's terrible.
Oh my gosh. I love this. You can obviously cut this part out. It's a little bit of a side rant, but I have a really weird affinity for like really bad knockoff stuff, whether it's characters or t-shirts. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever been on the English website, and it's like, you know how like they'll print t-shirts in English in other countries and people won't know what they mean. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I've seen some of those.
Yes.
And it's just like random words that don't make any sense, or like vulgar phrases and people don't realize what it says. So they're just like wearing it out in public, a shirt that says like, I don't know, like poop on the sidewalk or something like that. So this is right up my alley, this whole situation.
I think my favorite part about all of these, we're so off topic here, but my favorite part about all of these is they'll hang out in groups. So like you'll walk through Times Square and there'll be a group of like 50 Minnie Mouses. And it's,
oh my God. Yeah, there's 3 in that one picture. Okay, who is this in that picture where there's like Mickey on the right and 3 Minnies? Who is that on the far left?
I have no idea.
I have never seen this character before.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Funny.
Why are
I
all
love it.
these like Minnie Mouses high in this picture?
Right.
That one on the left is she about
And
to
I like
fall
that they
over.
have human hands.
Oh God! Why did you point that out?
Wait, you didn't notice that?
Part? No. Oh man!
So good.
Don't like that.
That guy is called Captain Hopper.
This is my like least favorite thing about New York.
Yeah.
The guy is Captain Hopper. It's from like a show called The Red Grasshopper, which is a Mexican television comedy series.
Huh.
How did you find that?
I should be a private investigator. I'm telling you, I'm amazing. I can Google anything.
And quick too.
And then here's my last little 2 bits about the characters. Remember how I was talking about their faces poking through their necks? This is exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh my God.
No. It's like so low effort.
But they probably make so much money.
Probably.
Anyway.
I would literally scream if somebody tried to make me take a picture with one of those things.
They don't even try. They just stand there and people just come up and take pictures with them.
It's weird.
Anyway. So Brian, what would your entertainment be now that we've derailed this for a while?
Yeah, mine was very just basic. Do like a mashup of songs from the 50s and have like an acapella rendition of it. I know that's very cop out and lame.
No, I think that's pretty good.
The Voices of Liberty are so good. You got to keep them in some form.
Yeah.
Kirsten,
Oh,
did you have entertainment?
I struggle with this too. This is kind of similar, I think, to your attraction, but I think it would be cool. I feel like one of the things Disney struggles with is things go out of date quickly, right? Especially in the show. Like everybody except me was sick of Beauty and the Beast, right? And so I think if they did sort of a review and they had a bunch of Disney classic songs, A Whole New World, Beauty and the Beast, all kinds of stuff, but they changed up the beat. So there was like a jazz version of A Whole New World, or like a 50s bop version of Under the Sea. And then they had the people who sang it dressed up in like Disney bounding outfits that reflected both the character but also the era they were singing from, like a flapper dress for Jasmine that was reminiscent of Jasmine's
Oh, that's cool.
costume or
Cute.
something. Because I think that would be really easy for them to switch up pretty quickly, like exchange songs, add songs, take songs away, whatever. And so it would be able to like stay fresh with relatively low impact as far as cost goes. But
Yeah, definitely. That's a really cool idea.
Yeah.
I do like that a lot.
Well, cool.
Well, so that probably is a good place to stop our conversation on that. Is there anything that you guys want to throw in for maybe like a Liberty Square retheming? I know Kirsten did hers on that, but
So I did both, and I thought that ours needed to take a cue from Disneyland and just make it New Orleans Square. Obviously, I'm a little bit biased, but keep Haunted Mansion. Obviously, fits in great with New Orleans spooky culture, voodoo origins, etc. Retheme Hall of Presidents to a stage show mini musical Princess and the Frog. And then the restaurants, they wouldn't have to change too much because they already serve a lot of seafood at Columbia Harbor House, and New Orleans is very seafood oriented. And the only thing that I had for Liberty Square that I thought was pretty cool, like a unique kind of addition, would be to keep the Liberty Square riverboat, but add a live jazz band on board that plays throughout the day while people ride around. So they could like come up and watch, and then they can go to the side and like look over the edge at the stuff that they pass by. And then maybe every once in a while, Lewis from The Princess and the Frog would come out and do a solo.
I like that a lot.
That is good.
I've said for a while that I think if they keep like the riverboat the same, they need to kind of put more Princess and the Frog in it, maybe, because that's like the perfect place to do it.
Yes.
And I wholeheartedly agree. That would be a good place to put him. Did you have any other like fun little things to do for Liberty Square? Because I got absolutely nothing, and I struggled with this one.
Well, I also think it would be fun if they did change it to New Orleans Square, that they could have like special events during Mardi Gras. They could have like a little mini parade that just goes through that area, or serve, king cake at the restaurants and only serve it that time of year. And just little things that they could add to have like a seasonal draw for visitors.
Cool.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to have like special events like that.
Yeah, and Louisiana people all wanted then because they're off school.
I really wanted to say New Orleans Square. Like I wanted to say that here, but I feel like since Pirates is in New Orleans Square in Disneyland, I like almost shied away from it, and I'm kind of upset that I didn't like lean into the theming, because I really like what you talked about with that.
It's interesting that you say that. I feel like Pirates fits in both lands, so that didn't really detract me at all.
I think it does too, but I know that obviously I've never been to Disneyland, so I don't necessarily know, but I've heard a lot of people have a lot of praise for like the Blue Bayou and all that, and I think that leaving that out might be a little upsetting if they're going to just put New Orleans Square and Liberty Square.
I mean, the attraction itself, I feel like the Blue Bayou was really cool. It was, obviously imagine doing the Grand Fiesta Tour, but in a bayou, and going into Pirates instead of Grand Fiesta Tour. So I really liked that aspect of it, but the rest of the attraction, is miles above our version at Disney World anyway, but the theming is obviously the same. And I feel like the attraction as a whole fits in better in Disney World where it is versus Disneyland. But that's just me.
That's interesting. I've never actually heard anybody like give that take. I've always heard Disneyland is a little bit better.
The attraction
But the
itself
attraction,
is better for sure, but I feel like where it is at Disney World fits better, like for the theming of the attraction.
Nice. Makes me all the more excited for whenever I eventually make my way over there. No, our Pirates has something up on theirs. But yeah, any thoughts or anything you want to throw out for this the end of this episode?
Oh, I had a Liberty Square kind of free theme. I mean, it was.
Go ahead.
I feel like it's cobbled together because my main inspiration was not getting rid of Haunted Mansion. So I was like, what can I do to retheme that land around that? And it kind of makes sense. So I kind of rethemed Liberty Square, and I know I need to come up with a much better name for this, but to Land of Mystery.
Ooh.
So Haunted Mansion would stay the same. The Liberty Bell, I thought wouldn't need to do much of a change, but I think it'd be really cool, like especially at night, for it to be like narrated and tell ghost stories as you go around Tom Sawyer Island.
Ooh,
I
love that.
And I know technically, Tom Sawyer Island isn't part of Liberty Square, but since the Liberty Bell goes around it, I think it would be very cool to have like haunted adventures on Tom Sawyer Island at night.
Yeah.
And do kind of almost like, maybe not necessarily like a haunted house or like haunted trail type deal, but something kind of at least spooky, something else. I don't know.
That would be the place to do it though, because you have to like intentionally go there. You don't just happen upon it.
Yeah.
I really like that idea, and that actually might make me go there.
I would definitely do that, except the snakes. Now that I think about the snakes,
creepy factor.
No,
that's a free addition.
Oh.
Let's see. So keeping with kind of mystery theme, I didn't want it to just be like haunted stuff. I wanted to like do some focus on like other type of mystery stuff. So I thought they would be cool to do Liberty Tree Tavern and retheme it after like Great American Mysteries, like D.B. Cooper's disappearance, Jimmy Hoffa, Oak Island, that kind of stuff. And just have like different themed areas of the restaurant that you could sit in around that. And I guess the last thing was I needed to find a replacement for Hall of Presidents. So I think Beth might enjoy this one, but I thought it would be really cool if they took out Hall of Presidents Theater and turned it into a like void type VR experience.
Yeah.
But this is the part I think you might like even more, but they do it like an escape room in VR. And then that way
you're speaking Beth's language.
But you would be able to change it up from time to time. And even have different experiences like that you could do, on the same day, even if you were able to like reserve time. So
yeah, that sounds awesome. I want it.
I really like that idea.
Yeah, I feel like there is so much at Disney already that's geared towards the light and fluffy that it would be cool to have more spooky, dark stuff.
And since, Liberty Square is already a really small land, like I feel like it could work since it wouldn't be like encroaching on much of the park to do that.
Yeah.
I definitely agree with that. My biggest struggle with, I think, Liberty Square was mainly one, I didn't want to get rid of Haunted Mansion. Like that was which way I looked at it, I was like, there's no way that I can keep this attraction here. And that was enough to be like, nope, can't do it. But it's also a very small footprint. I was thinking like you could maybe do, and it kind of ties into Brian's thing. Like if you were going to do a Villain's Land, you could do it here. But
yeah, that'd be cool.
It still kind of keeps the Haunted Mansion like with that spooky vibe, but I don't know what else you would do to make it like the full-on Villain's Land. There's not much else that I could think of in the way of there.
Smuggly Duckland.
The thing is, though, that's cool.
He's so cute.
But honestly, I like the idea of like a villains themed land or even an entire park that like I wouldn't want to
Amen.
have to keep it in such a small area.
Hmm.
See, and that's my thing too. I was like, I think if they're gonna do a villains theme thing, it deserves a whole park, not just a land. So even the fleeting thought of that was much like, I want to do this, but there's not enough room to do this.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I feel like we
I
should do
also
that
feel
as a
like it would be-
topic, like design a whole villains park.
Oh, I
sometime.
like
Oh, we
it.
definitely could. I feel like I may have done that for one of my Blue Sky ones, but I could definitely do more with it.
I know. I wish we
also
did Blue
think
skies
it's-
more often. This is my favorite thing.
Yeah, I love this topic. I also think that the location that it's in, actually, Kirsten gave me a good idea with that. With what she said about not being able to, or what I said about not being able to fill it out. If you did Liberty Square as a villains themed land, you could do Columbia Harbor House as the Snuggly Duckling, connect the Tangled bathroom area to the villains park, so it's less of a harsh transition from It's a Small World to like darkness, and then connect the whole thing that way.
Nice.
I like that idea. Anyway,
Disney, you listening?
we definitely have to do a Disney themed or a villains themed Blue Sky.
Yeah. That would be fun. And spooky season is upon us.
And since we can't talk about Not So Scary this year, we
Oh,
got to talk about
man.
something.
Ooh, that'd be a fun Halloween episode or a series of episodes, because I feel like we would have to really think about that one and dedicate some time to it and build it out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Let's do it.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm gonna say let's wrap this week up because we're over an hour now.